for the pro-life movement, he starts to pontificate. And he becomes the de facto religious leader. And his little joker minions on the state and city level. And I'm just going to say one sentence here. And it's not politically correct. If the foolish masses think that just because some evil wolf in sheep's clothing from the other side of the aisle who has an R is going to be any better, I'll send you to a good religious psychiatrist. We've got to have him. The Messiah is coming. Is it God or gold? How many of those other people, the opposition, are talking about God? It's only about gold. And do we really believe that we'll have a better economy from people who say, well, I'm halfway good. I'm going to only pour half the sewage bilge into the cultural wellsprings from which your children and grandchildren drink. We're going to go home after this rally, most of us. We were there. We're for the chosen few. Is this the extent of the moral remnant in America? Is this what de Tocqueville was talking about, that America is the country of religion? Is this what that young lady who just spoke before, she's going to tell us how we're doing it in America to warn them in Brussels and Europe? What are we going to be boastful about? The religious leadership here, I'm sorry to say it, they betrayed us. Yeah. Let me tell you, Moses set the standard of religious leadership. The prophets of old, they were stoned, they were reviled, they were imprisoned, they were in caves, they weren't in beautiful edifices, and everybody wasn't telling them how great they were. If there's not a tension when you go to church on Sunday, the synagogue on Friday, on Saturday, or the imam's house on Friday, if you don't come home with a headache, with a tension that I'm not doing enough, that my clergyman is not holding me to is holding me to a higher account, on modesty, on fighting pornography, on opposing adultery, on him leading us with 100 other clergymen. Why do I go out here to an abortion clinic today, and there are the same senior citizens, decent people, and 2 or 3 young people? When was the last time there were 100 clergymen in the Bible Belt? Not in Sodom on the Hudson, where I live as a cultural lawyer, with my 9 children for years, and I never bowed down. Never. Why aren't there in the Bible Belt 100 religious clergymen coming out on a Sunday? I think you can see it. Your grandparents saved my grandparents from being made into lampshades. And I say, God bless America. You have given me, and thousands like me, the ability 3 weeks ago, how many of you know this? We filled up the new Shea Stadium in New York. It's called Citi Field. The newspaper said it was never so filled. Every seat was taken by Orthodox Jewish menfolk. Arthur Ashe in the overflow had another 7,000 to 10,000 people. And tens of thousands more women at separate venues by video, and men throughout the world. 70,000 Orthodox Jews gathered for 4 hours to talk about the evils of the internet and how it's pornifying us and what we've got to do. I apologize to no one. And I'm going to say it, it's tough. We are so far ahead of the game. And I said to myself, at the age of 57, having experienced the 57 Heinz varieties of life and lifestyle, I now feel equipped and ready to take this message out to middle America, to a moral remnant who's ready to wake up. This is not the reason that we should be having a rally. It's one of 1,000 reasons, but guess what? Abortion, we've been paying for it either in the military or through Planned Parenthood for the last few decades. I didn't see the rallies. Why? Because certain, and I don't say this in a negative way, I'm happy there's a rally. But let me tell you a spiritual law. When your head gets stuffed up by dint of not being sensitive to all the spiritual things, and you just need this which threatens the church organizations. So they said, you've drawn a line in the sand, we have no choice, we have to come out and make a rally. Why did you have a choice about the militant homosexual agenda? Why did you have a choice about the sex education that's being pushed down our throats and our children's throats from K to 12? Why did you have a choice as the attorney generals of the last few administrations and all of their little people have not been enforcing the anti-obscenity laws? And I can go on and on. But that the religious leaders had a choice. Now suddenly they don't. And we have to come out here by like puppets. And guess what? We're the heaven or hell. You decide which word to put in there. Are the religious leaders? Why don't I see 100 religious leaders at this rally? Where are they? I should genuflect to them. Where are they? Listen, I'm not trying to blow my own horn. I don't give a darn, and I'm not rich. And I don't want that challenge. But in the 1980s, Mike Russell of the Conservative Coalition asked me to defend Pat Robertson from accusations of anti-Semitism, and I did. I said as follows to the media: if Pat Robertson is our problem with anti-Semitism, I pray to God we should have no Pat Robertson. That's anti-Semitism, idiots, that's anti-Semitism. In 1986, Dr. Jerry Falwell, I was 32 years old, he asked me for my endorsement on his book cover if I should die before I read. I defended the Pope Benedict when he tried to rehabilitate a Lefebvre bishop who was a Holocaust denier and later accused him of anti-Semitism. I can stand here for an hour. I defended Father Paul Marsh. I can blow my own horn. It's not the point. The reason I'm able to speak with this righteous indignation is very simple. I did not drink the Kool-Aid being given out by these religious leaders. I come from a different tradition of what a religious leader is. Now, you can go home today. We're here, we spoke out. Listen to me. Listen to that way it works. Let me impart with you some of my knowledge. It's not mine. It's what I studied. It's thousands of years old. God is licensing these rallies. In the 157 locations today, I don't know if you have 1,000 religious leaders or on. There's no excuse. They're not busy with better things. They make some pompous statements. They do a lawsuit or two. Let me ask you a question. In those 12 lawsuits or whatever, do all of them cover every single private religious individual? Or it's only when their hospitals and colleges and their organizations are being threatened, and it's going to be embarrassing for them? What are they doing for that guy in New Mexico? What are they doing for the psychologist who didn't want to provide marriage counseling for a homosexual couple in Atlanta who lost his license? They're doing the exact same thing that they did for the rescuers who were in prison. Hale, good job. Nice job, guys. It's great. Maybe we'll come and visit you once or twice. I was summoned to Atlanta, Georgia in the late 80s by Randall Perry. And he said, the religious leaders are gathering in Atlanta. We're going to all get arrested. We're going to break the back of the abortion movement because the faithful will follow. Dr. Jerry Falwell did come down. Not too many religious leaders show up. I didn't see a bishop, or certainly not a cardinal, or certainly not the leaders of the Southern Baptists or the Orthodox Jews or the imams. I didn't see them. I came down ready to be arrested, and I said, glory to God. I saw the pink makeup on Dr. Falwell. He's a blessed man. He's a wonderful guy. But maybe there weren't enough religious leaders, and he wasn't going to go to jail alone, or with me. But that was a fat rabbi. He'd rather be back in Lynchburg. So they went home, everybody went home, and that was it for the next quarter of a century. People, do you understand what I'm saying? Have I made it clear? This is sins of omission and sins of commission. We are killing ourselves. We are committing a national religio suicide. I don't care if you go to synagogues on Sabbath or churches on Sunday. I don't care if we stand outside abortion clinics. I said it to some great senior citizens last night. They stand outside abortion clinics. Blessing. I said, tell me, how many of you grandparents have the guts to speak to your grandchildren about the serial immorality that they are practicing? Or, for good relationships with the grandchildren, you just give them the money for the new car or wish them well or stay away from the controversial subjects. You think when we come up to God and he says, what did you do for me? I stood for 5,000 hours outside the abortion clinic. Okay, you're going to get a lot of payoff. And what did you do for me with your own grandchildren? The postborn. How many times did you march on City Hall, on the Board of Education that pumps the bilge into your kids? How many times did you demand that they stop the pornography and they prosecute obscenity laws? And on and on. I hope this message gets out. I hope this gets out because nobody's saying it. Does that make me crazy? No. That makes me somebody who hasn't drunk liquid. I want to thank you for listening, and I want to invite you. I am trying to start a real revival. And the way to do it, rabbi11.com, a pledge on God Reign Over Us, pledging, this new pledge, see my videos, just subscribe, you'll hear from me. I took a website that I wrote the name, but I haven't filled it up yet. It'll be there when it's called The Moral Remnant. You want to become part of it, you want to learn strategies of this ancient Jewish tradition of how to stand up to the end of our forces. We've got 2,000 years of experience. Join me. Thank you for listening. God bless.